Hello everyone. In this video I would like to show you how to implement a document's multi-user approval process by using PowerApps. We can implement the same thing by using Power Automate, but in the Power Automate the flow can run and wait for an approver up to 30 days, and after that the flow will be suspended or cancelled, and also the flow history is only available up to 28 days. There are so many workarounds. We can use that in the Power Automate to implement the same process. But as an alternative, I'm using the Power Apps to implement the documents multi-user approval process. Let's get into the details how we can implement with Power Apps. So on the screen you can see policies. It's a document library with multiple columns. I'll go through the metadata here in a while. And also I have another SharePoint list called policy tasks. So these are the two, one library and one task list I'm using for the approval process. So let's see the schema for the policies. So if we go to the library settings here, and the title is the out of the box column, and the document unique ID I'm generating the unique ID for each document on process start and setting it, and I would like to use that to group the task based on that unique ID. And also the approvers are multiple users, and it is a person or a group field. And to support the process, the approval process, I'm using fields like current approver, previous approver, and next approver, which all these are person or group fields. And completed approvers is also another person or a group field, and I'm tracking all the completed approvers information as the process moves forward. And max task due days, this is a number field I will be using to track the due date for each task. So when I'm creating a task based on during the process, I'll use this field value to set the due date of a task. And the process history, it is to track the comments throughout the process, comments in the sense the approval process logging information. And review instructions for approver. So for when I'm creating a task for each approver, I'll be putting the instructions into the task, so that the instructions are captured here for each task. So these are all like a common instructions for every task, but so I'm capturing in the documents metadata. And approval status, it got a few approval statuses. One is new. When I upload the document, it will be new, and when I'm updating the metadata fields like all the approvers information, I'll set the status to start approval process. And as soon as the process starts, the status will be changed to in progress, and as the document approval process completes, and if everybody approves it, then it is approved, otherwise it is rejected. So and any other fields are like, one other field is a task email CC. So this field I'm using it to there is a general complaint from the approvers that sometimes they complain that I did not receive an approval task, can you please resend it to me. So I'm just using this field to CC every task email to this person, so that if any approver complains about missing task email, I can just forward from this email box. It can be a shared email box as well. So we can define different in this case I put person or a group field, but you can place a single line of text, and you can use a shared email box, or you can do different things here. So let's going back to the policies here. Now we will see what's the schema for policy tasks. In the policy tasks, I actually used a content type called a task, which is a part of a SharePoint content types. So it is out of the box. So when I use the task content type, I'll get all the basic columns for the required task. And also apart from that, I created a few custom columns as well. One is the document unique ID, which I'm capturing in the document library as well. I'm just copying that so that I can view all the tasks which were created for a document. And the document URL, so whenever I'm creating a task, I'm sending the document's URL. So instead of querying the document library to get the URL, I'm actually storing that as part of the task as well, so that I can directly send the I can directly refer the URL. It reduces one query to the document library, but it adds one additional column into the task. The other one is duration per task, uh, which is a number field, which is again I'm getting this details from the document library. And the other one is task email CC. It's again for easiness of the process. I'm storing it in the task. And approver comments, just to track what are the approvers comments for each task. I'm using this approver comments field. So let's get back to this and let's run through one process here. So I already have few no, okay, let me upload a document here and we'll run through the process here. Let me just randomly uploading some document here and we'll see. This is a sample document for approval process, and in this process I would like to add Steve Smith and my account, and David Warner is another account. So I use that, and I'm setting the task due date for each task is 2 days. And I'm entering the instructions for the approver. So please review the document and approve it. So these instructions will be copied for each task, so that we don't need to provide individual instructions. So and approval status, again setting it to start approval process, and task email CC, as I explained, all the task emails will be CC to this account. So I'm clicking on submit. As soon as I click on it, and if we see here, the document unique ID is generated and also the approvers are captured. This is the entered information, and we can see the current approver is set to Steve Smith, the very first user, and the next approver is the second user. And also if we scroll to the right, we can see few more details here. The process history, the task is created and assigned to Steve Smith. And now we will, if we see the policy tasks, the task already generated for the user, and the task is generated, and also an email went to the first approver. If we see here, it is an email went to Steve Smith, and this is the email that is going to this Steve Smith, and the Steve Smith can view the task and approve it by clicking on the link. So here the Steve Smith, he can review all the documents details, and also he can click on the link here, view document. So if you can see that this is done, and then he can approve it, approving the document as by Steve Smith, and click on submit. Okay, this is done. So now if I just go and open the same task email, which is for the Steve Smith, if I open it again, then I won't be able to edit it again because the task is already completed. And also I'm setting these fields as read only, so that the user won't be able to, or the approver won't be able to go back and change his decision. And but the link, I'm making it still available. The reason is that's a part of the requirement I had, so I made it available like that. So if we see immediately, and I got another email with, in this case I got another I mean the email, the task is assigned to a different approver. And if we go back to the policies here, and if we see the previous approver is Steve Smith and current approver is my account, and the next approver is David Warner. So it set the values directly. So the process move forward. And if we see the process history, the task is now, the task assigned to Steve Smith is completed. We can add more and more logging in as we require, detailed logging. So in my case, I limited to the at high level. So, and also if we go to the policy task, a new task was created and assigned. For that we received the email earlier. So you can see the document unique ID and the document URL, all the details. I'm using it here. And let's go back to the task as well. And if we click on the view task, it's the same process. So the task will move forward. And I will complete the process, and then we will see the logic inside it. Approved by Krishna and submit. Now the task will update it here. As we see, it will update. Now just give a second, it will move. Yep, there you go. So now my account became previous approver, and current approver became, the last person became the current approver. And if we see the completed approvers, we can see the first two users are here. And also the process history also gets updated as we progress. And again we see the third account here, I mean the task item. So let me finish the last one as well, then we will see the logic how it was implemented. Okay, so again approved, so I just mentioned as approved. So let's get into the the main task, I mean policies. So if you see the status as approved, status is approved now, and there are no current approver or next approver. And if we see the approvers and completed approvers, both are same. And also in the history I captured that the approval process completed and final approval status is approved. So we can do all of this here. And also if we go to the policy tasks, again all the tasks are completed 100% and all of them are approved. Now let's get into the main logic, how it was implemented. So let's customize this SharePoint document library PowerApps form to see the logic. Okay, so if we see my PowerApp custom form is loaded now. So if we see, I just got two screens here, and the PowerApp is a SharePoint integrated PowerApp, and also the policy details screen where this is the screen where the user will enter the metadata for a document, like all the approvers information and the task due and other information. So what I'm doing here is on submit, I'm simply submitting the form. I'm not doing anything here. On select, I'm just submitting the form. But on if we see on the form, on success of the form, I kept all my logic here. This is where the main place we have all that logic. So on submit, on success of form submission, we can retrieve the item. So what item was updated or submitted. So I'm getting that into a variable here, and also I created a variable to update the person or a group field. So this is a blank person. I'm using that throughout the process. And here, if the task items approval status dot value is a start approval process, then I'm actually collecting all the approvers from the previously submitted item, and then I'm setting who is my first approver. So I'm getting the approvers from that first approver, and I'm removing the first approver and then getting the next approver as well. So if the first approver count is not, I mean, greater than 0, then only I'll be able to get the next approver. So and then I'm setting the next variable, and then I'm getting the variable. Otherwise it's a blank person. So if we see the how I'm updating, or the next process I'm taking it to the next process is I'm patching the policies. Once the process is started, I need to update the current approver, next approver, previous approver, all of that. So I'm patching that. I'm using a patching function to update the policies, the particular item. And then updating the documents unique ID. This is the logic I used, just to use some timestamp, and with the prefix of doc. We can use any other logic as well to generate a unique ID. And previous approver, I'm starting the process, so there won't be any previous approver. So I'm using a blank person, which is the variable which I created here. And the completed approvers, again it will be blank. I can use the same variable. I need to replace that. So the next one is the current approver is the variable var first approver. So this is where I created the var approvers, the first of the approvers. And then current approver is done. Process history, I'm writing into some log who the task is assigned to. The next approver is the next person in the line. If it is only one person I assigned in the approvers column, then there won't be anybody, so it will be a blank person. If it is another person exists in the approval process, then it will be this. It will be set to the second person. And I'm here. Finally, I'm setting the approval status to in progress. So after that, so this will be this concludes the updating the documents metadata updation. After the document is updated, then I'm creating a task in the policy tasks list. So in the policy task list, it's a new item, so I'm using the default of that policy task, and I'm setting the metadata of the task. One is the title, and the body is nothing but the instructions I'm passing from the document libraries value. And then the start date, when is it should be starting, it is today. And when is it due date is nothing but today plus the max task due days, which is whatever number I enter in the documents metadata. And assign to, that will be my first approver, which exists in my current approvers column. And then document unique ID, I'm getting all these details from my documents properties. So I'm setting all these values there. And finally, once the task is created in the policy task, I'm sending an email to the user as well. So my logic to send an email to the person or the approver is also embedded within the PowerApp. So I'm not using the Power Automate to send the email. So here the subject, I mean the email address is assigned to, and the task is the title, and I'm put some HTML code inside the body, and I embedded the task link. So you can see all of that, how I implemented it. And also I CC'd the task email CC field value. So that's why like a task will be sent to the task email CC. And after that, finally, after everything is done, I'm resetting the form, and I'm also hiding the form as well. So this concludes when I submit, upload a document and upload the update the metadata properties of all these fields. Then this logic will updates the other metadata properties in the document library, and also it creates a document, I mean a task in the policy tasks list. So that's how the very first task will be created here. So now the next process is, okay, let's once the first approver completes the first task, then the process should move to the next level. Means next approver, another task should be created. And the process should move forward. So for that, I customize the policy tasks Power Apps. We'll see that now. So in this Power App, what I'm doing is I'm again customize the SharePoint list form to show the user only the required information. Means when a task is opened, the user should not see some information as I mean it should be available read only and some information as editable. So I made all the fields as read only by setting the properties of the card. If we see the cards page display mode, so let's see the if we see the page display mode, I set to the display mode dot view for all these fields. That way, like we can actually restrict the form to show in a view mode to the user so that they don't make any changes, especially for the approvers. So all these fields are like that. And document URL, it's a HTML text field and I'm showing it as href and the document URL, and the target is blank. This will open the document in a new window or a new tab. And if you see here, there are a couple of fields here. One is a task status and approver comments. So the task status, by default, it is a choice field in the task. But if you see, the task status has multiple tasks, but I just want to show only a couple of statuses to the approver, whether you approve it or reject it. That's it. So I don't want to show an additional values there. But when you add the task status column to the form, you will get multiple values. So this is the choice field here. Data card value, which I hide by default when the form shows. But if we see here, I put a logic here when to show, but whenever it is approved or rejected, then only it shows it. Also when it shows in the approved or rejected, then I'm showing it only when it in a view mode. Means if we scroll down a little bit further to see the logic, the display mode logic also contains similar logic and I'm showing it in view mode. So in the view mode, whenever the task is approved or rejected, I'm showing it in view mode. Means the user won't be able to update it. But when it is in edit mode, I'm showing a radio button control. So what it contains is, it contains simply only two values, approved and rejected. Actually the task choice has an additional value in progress, which I'm filtering it and showing only approved and rejected. And the approver comments, it's a multi-line text field again, and similar logic is used to in the display mode. I have the similar logic. Whenever it is approved or rejected, I want to show it in a view mode, otherwise it shows in a edit mode. And there is another the task button here. Let's see, where is that button? Okay, so right now it is invisible. The reason is, let me make it let's see the visibility property. So whenever the task status value is in progress, then only we will see this button. But on the button, on select of the button, we are submitting the task form. But on success of that form, so let's select the form, and on success of the form, again I have similar logic what I had it on the document library. So I'm created a variable message flag. I'll show you where I'm using it. So once the task form is submitted, on success, I'm getting the same task forms item into the where approved task, and again the same variable I'm using blank people. And here I'm getting the policy item, means the document libraries item. So I'm getting the unique ID. This is how I'm using to refer my unique ID back from the policies. So I'm getting that, and then I'm getting all the completed approvers, completed approved task dot assign to into the uh, completed approvers, and then I'm manipulating the completed approvers and the remaining approvers collections in a way that the current approver, once he finishes, that current approver should be added to my completed approvers collection. So that's what I'm doing it right now. And also I should set my current approver into the column, the previous approver column, and my next approver should be moved into the current approver. So that's what I'm doing in this logic. So the clear collect, basically it collects all the completed approvers, and then I'm appending to that collection the current approvers to that collection. And also the policy approvers, these are the complete approvers list. So I'm actually making another copy here to see who are the remaining. So I'm doing a poll for all. So I'm comparing with the completed approvers and looping through all of that, and then removing whichever user who completed the approval process. And finally, once the task, if the task is approved, then I'm updating the metadata of the policies, because I need to change the current approver, previous approver, next approver, completed approvers, right? All those columns and also the history. So I'm doing that right here. The previous approver and also completed approver, current approver, next approver. This is the logic I'm using. And the process history as well. I'm writing additional logic, and also if you see, I'm concatenating with the existing logic, existing process history as well. And then finally the approval status. If all the approvers are all completed, then I'm changing the status to approved, otherwise it will remain as in progress. And also if the task is kind of approved or rejected, then what I'm doing is, again, I'm patching the same policies again, saying that the final statement, approval process completed, and final approval status is whatever may be the outcome of the approval process. And the last thing I need to do, if it is not approved or if it is not rejected, means if the process is not completed, then I need to create another task. So I created another task here. So patch, policy tasks, and defaults, and I'm creating pretty much the same way as I created a task from the document library. So with all the information, and again I'm sending the email to the next approver. So that's how. And if in case if the task is rejected, what I should be doing, the process should stop right there. So I'm updating the policies again, saying that the task is rejected, and the process will not move further, and we will see the same. The process should hold there. We are not updating the current approver, next approver, and previous approver, because the process should stop right there. So I'm just updating only the process history as well as approval status, and I'm just navigating to this success screen. So this is all the logic I used to show to perform the approval process. If you have any more questions, please connect me via Twitter or from the blog. Okay, thank you.